Hi, everybody. This is Carmen Ortiz, and I'm calling you from Ecuador. I'm an expat in Cuenca, Ecuador. I've been here for 6 years, and I'm with an electronic notary or remote notary in New York City. And I want to share a testimonial. I mean, this whole a little conversation that we're going to have, Mary Fernandez, the notary, and myself, a client, a recent client, is going to serve as a testimonial because I'm going to tell you really the nightmarish experience that I had and how she became my New York City angel when I found her. Okay, so, and if you're watching this video and you are in need, or you think that at some point you're going to be in need of some type of notarization, and you're going to need an electronic notary or a remote notary service, then this is the woman that I want you to consider. Okay, so let's see. So Mary, I want to share with you my experience, and I want to ask you a couple of questions. First of
Great.
all, tell me a little bit about when did you become a notary, and when did you become an electronic notary in New York, and how are you liking serving clients as a notary?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your input on this. I have been working for a special education law firm for the past 8 years. And in that time, it's been about three um 3 years or so that I'd had a regular notary license. And then we were finding that this was a very nice service for our clients, but I wasn't doing too much with it until COVID came. And at the time of COVID, we had an emergency declaration from the governor that we'd be allowed to just get on a Zoom and just look at them, have them hold up their ID and that kind of thing. And so it wasn't very monitored, but we were able to do it that way and notarize under the emergency rules. So then after COVID was over, I've realized that the law was going to be changing and that they were really going to codify this and make it into uh, definitely a lot more regulated. And so in February 2023, the law went into effect for electronic notarization, and it requires identity proofing and secure encrypted, a whole secure encrypted process with a third party provider. So there's lots of different ones that are available now. I use this company Sinex. So they've been really, really excellent. And so I decided after I put in for this, I learned all the code. I just put in an application for an electronic notary license, which basically came to replace my old one. And so I can conduct both electronic and standard notarizations. And then I decided at that point that this was just such an interesting kind of thing. I mean, I'm offering this to my law firm that I work for, but at that point, then I decided to open my own to start my own LLC. And so I started that in March of 2023 and have been yeah, picking up and finding through Yelp advertising and other types of just word of mouth as well that y- people really, really need this.
Beautiful. So let me share my story, my friends that are watching this video. Oh my God. So what happened was I hired an immigration attorney because I'm claiming my spouse for the green card, for the permanent residence in the United States. And I'm doing it from Ecuador. So we're going to go back to the United States already with the green card. We're going to enter the United States with the green card. And the immigration attorney, in putting together my application for the U.S. Immigration Department, says, well, Carmen, yeah, but you were married before, which I was married in 1980. And when you got married, you changed your name to Carmen Rivas from Carmen Ortiz. And so now we need a copy of your marriage certificate, of that marriage certificate of 1980.
Mm.
And I'm like, what? Yeah. Because in Florida, when I got married again, they didn't ask for any of that. I just, I got a dissolution of my marriage and I got married. And he said, also, and by the way, the divorce dissolution certificate from New York State is not good. Immigration does not accept it. It has to be a divorce decree divorce judgment signed by a judge. And this was in 1983. So you also need a copy of your divorce decree. And I'm like, we have been putting together this immigration application package for like 2 months, got everything. And now those are the only two documents that are missing to complete the application. So now I checked it out, and in New York, the divorce decree the records are in the county clerk in New York, in Manhattan, because I got married in Manhattan and divorced in Manhattan. And the marriage records are in the city clerk. Okay, so two different offices nearby, but two different offices. So now I contact them and I say, well, I'm in Ecuador. How are we going to do this? She said, well, you can find somebody to represent you. Okay, if you order it by mail, you could order it by mail, but it's going to take a whole bunch of time. And so you could, somebody can walk into the office and walk out with the documents, but you need a letter notarized. And I'm like, okay, so how are we going to, great. So I got to get these two letters notarized. In the two places, I got the same story. Then I go on Google and I say, okay, is remote notarization allowed in New York? And I found the law that was signed in end of 22, became effective beginning of 23. I found the law that says that remote notarization is allowed. I called back the two offices and I asked them, do you accept notary letters that are notarized remotely so that I can assign a friend to go and pick up these documents? I did that with the two offices. In both instances, they were a little confused because they didn't know much about this remote notary thing, but they checked it out and they came back and they said, yes, we will take the letter notarized remotely, but, and here's the catch, it has to be original, So then how do you do that? Let's say you're in Ecuador, you're in Argentina, you're in France, you're in Spain, you're, even in the United States, in another state, and you want somebody to represent you in an office that is not allowing for electronic filing, because in neither one of those offices I could file electronically for this request. It had to be either by mail and wait who knows how many months, or somebody go there and represent me and walk out with the documents. So if you're in that situation and electronic filing is not allowed, then it's going to have to be original. The letter that's notarized has to be original. It cannot be printed. It cannot be digital in any form in that way. It cannot be a photocopy. It has to be considered original. They told me on uncertain terms. So then I said, well, how do I do that? How does that work? So then I go on the search for a notary public in New York City, in all five boroughs of New York City, looking for a notary public with a phone number that I could actually call and ask about this letters that needed to be original after they got notarized remotely. And guess what? I couldn't find anybody. I challenge you to go on Google or any other search engine and look for a remote or electronic notary in New York City with a phone number that actually works, meaning that you call them and they actually answer. I challenge you, because I tried it for like a week and I found one that was in Florida who said, oh, I've never done a remote notary. I mean, don't hire me. I wouldn't know what to do, although I've got the license. I found another one that I called like 10 times, never answered. I sent them an email, never responded. And Finally, after like a week, I found Mary Fernandez, this woman that's with me here right now. And immediately contacted you, Mary. Immediately we were on the phone, and you told me, okay, wait a minute. You're the first person in this situation that needs this kind of original letters, but I will figure it out because there's a way to do it and we're going to make it happen. And that's what you told me. And so I want you to share now with the people that are listening, how does that work, that certificate that makes it an original letter, even
Right.
though I was not with you when we
Yes.
notarized it.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, as you said, that this was I knew about this process because it was part of the new New York codes for electronic notarization, and it's called something that they call papering out, or copy authentication. And so I had known that this was something that was needed, but had never had not had this situation to date. People would either get things done electronically that they didn't need to turn in any special way to a court, or they'd come in person and get it done, and therefore it's an original. So basically, once you contacted me, I'm searching my memory banks, and I'm like, oh yes, this is this is what we're able to do, and I just have to find the correct procedure, the correct verbiage to present to the court, because they will not accept just any old thing. And so I just I looked in a couple different places, and finally in the New York law itself, it says exactly what you have to do in that case, which the notary, is the one responsible for actually printing out the document, or it's under my supervision. I have to print out the notarized thing that we did electronically, and then I have to create a little certificate with the verbiage from, that I'm talking about, where it says, I've compared this to the original. Oh, thank you. And she's got it right here. So this is exactly what you have to put in there. And so it's basically like doing the notarization again, um, for a copy. Now in New York State, this is only allowed, a certificate of authenticity, or as it's called, or a papering out type thing, is only allowed as far as electronic notarization. So as you can see, it has very specific wording, and you have to certify that nothing was altered and that this is exactly the same as the electronic copy. Sign as a notary and put your stamp again, wet
They-
stamp as they call it.
Yeah,
So
there you go. And then the person that was going to represent me, or that already did, because this happened on Thursday, last Thursday, and today's January 28th. So this happened last Thursday. And when I say this, I mean my friend in New York City actually went to the city clerk and to the county clerk with letters that Mary Fernandez, after putting that certificate on the letters that were she notarized, she affixed those certificates and then mailed them, went to the post office and mailed a priority package to my representative with the two letters. This is what's called full service, right? This is like a complete service, Mary. I'm telling you from A to Z. When you told me you yelled, yeah, I'll take him to the post office. Oh, I'm like, oh my goodness. So she took him to the post office, priority mail. 2 days later, my friend receives the letters, and the next day she got them on Wednesday, last Wednesday, and then I said to Mary, Mary, if this works, meaning if these two offices accept these two letters as originals, we're going to do a video because people are going to have to find out about this. And that's what we're doing the video, because she went to the two letters and it worked like a charm. They looked at it and they like, one of them had to ask for the supervisor because she'd never seen anything like it. And she asked for the supervisor, and the super, oh yeah, this is good. It worked like a charm.
Yeah,
And she walked away with my marriage records from 1980 and my divorce decree from 1983. And then I got them, she scanned them, she sent them to me, and the immigration attorney has the documents, and I'm set.